I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Ella Glassman. I have been a Girl Scout since I was in kindergarten, and this is my Gold Award project, The Art of Applying. The goal of this project is basically to educate high schoolers about the application process for arts colleges because it is completely different. I came across the idea for this project in two ways. The first was when my Girl Scout troop met with a college advisor to earn a badge, and they were basically explaining how we have to have all these um, extracurriculars and great test scores to get into a college. And then when I asked, "What about film school?" she basically said to throw all of that out of the window, and it is an entirely new process that includes a portfolio and artist statements and all this other new stuff that I would have to learn about. And I also learned that I was not the only one who did not really know about this process, because I have many friends that have already gone through the process of applying to art schools, whether that was for acting or theater. And I think we all have agreed that we would have liked to have something as a support system to teach us about this process. Another way that I came across it was when I went to my um, counseling, the school guidance office, and basically I found that there wasn't a lot of support for kids that wanted to go to the arts. We luckily have an amazing brace advisor at my school who helps all the kids in my school, but there isn't a specific focus for these kids who have an entirely separate application. So this is one of three presentations that I will be doing. This one is on evaluating schools, arts colleges, and the next ones will be tomorrow and Tuesday, both at 5 p.m. I hope that you would consider joining. Those will be about writing an artist statement and creating a creative portfolio. So first, I'd like to give a special thanks to Louise Borden, the president and founder of Best Fit Education, Tori Lynn Sereniti, my Gold Award advisor, Anna Hernandez, the Western High School Brace advisor, Carol Lopez, who is the Broward School's Brace coordinator, who was also, I would like to add on, helping me put my handbooks that I'm making for this project into every public school in the county. And lastly, Lori Glassman and Debbie Miller, my Girl Scout troop leaders. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate all you have done for me. So we will be talking about how to evaluate schools today, and basically limiting down your application list or building your application list. So once you have decided to apply to an art school, it is a very overwhelming process, because I'm sure you will look on any website and see top 10 list of film schools, top 10 list of dance schools, top 10 list of music schools, but those aren't always going to be the right fit for you. So how do we get to find the ones that are right for you? So the first step that I learned is to do your own research. This starts by looking at the schools that you are considering and looking up their website, other websites that have reviews, and just getting a basic understanding of what the school is about. You want to see if the school matches what you want and not if you match what they want. One thing that I would suggest is going and looking up projects from students that are there and have graduated from there to see if it matches what you want to do. Like if you are a film student like I am and you want to make narrative films, you probably want to find a school that isn't going to make these experimental art house films. You want to find one that's going to aid your desire to do storytelling. So that is a big line that I have kept with me in my search, is that I'm looking for what's best for me and not if I am what a school wants. So second is the basic stuff that everybody looks at, is looking at the out of state and state acceptance rates, diversity rates, population, undergraduate to graduate ratio, full-time to part-time student body ratio, cost and financial aid, GPA and test scores, and application requirements. By looking at these basic facts, it becomes a lot easier to pluck out schools that you don't want to apply to or ones that you are sure about. Personally, for me, I'm looking at schools that aren't on the smaller side. And just by looking at the population, I was able to cut down a bunch and I was able to add a bunch of schools to my list. So these basic points may seem basic, but they are a very good way to cross out ones faster than you would for other ones. So next is to take a tour. A lot of schools offer a virtual tour, which is a great resource. I would 100% recommend taking advantage of that. You definitely want to see the physical aspects of the campus, because if it seems like a place that you wouldn't want to visit, odds are you're not going to want to live there. So that it is so important that you take advantage of these virtual tours. And another thing that I would suggest is, if possible, take it in-person tour, because these virtual tours are going to show you what the school wants you to see. While on an in-person tour, yes, you will be guided, but often they do let you walk around on your own, where you can make your own opinions of the place right in front of you. Another thing that I would suggest is to join if the school offers an online info session. One of the schools that's at the top of my list has done a lot of info sessions, one that was a Q&A with students, one that was a Q&A with faculty, one with the head of the department that I want to apply to. So I think it's a great resource to have these schools, and that comes with going to their website and also signing up for emails. So that is one thing that I definitely would suggest doing. Next, I would say to get opinions. When touring a school, they are going to make it seem like the best place to be, like as if every other school can't compare to them. But often they're not telling you things that they wouldn't want you to know. So one thing I would suggest is going online to websites like Rate My Professor, Niche.com, and Unigo. While these websites are a great resource, one thing I will say is that they tend to show you the two sides of the spectrum. Think about, like, if you're going to review a restaurant, odds are the only reason that you would be reviewing a restaurant is either you loved it or you hated it. So a lot of the time I would say that the true answer is somewhere in the middle. With Rate My Professor, you're probably going to see some kids saying that they would never suggest taking a class there, and some kids saying it was the best experience of their life. So you want to try and find a happy medium within those critiques. Yeah. So then this section on Take Notes is basically the most important part, and it's what sets apart applying to an art school from applying to a school for science or engineering. So you want to look up classes and programs related to your major. And the following questions are one of the most important ones that you would want answered. If they don't have classes that you would want to take relating to your major, and if they aren't classes that you think would teach you the skills that you need to learn, it might not be the best fit. Some classes may be more involved where you need to dedicate more time, or you might want to take multiple classes where you have the option to be in many classes at the same time. You need to find what is the best fit and how related it is to what you want to study. Under the same section, the professors is a big part of an arts college. Are they practicing artists? Are they going to be able to connect you to other artists that are in the field? Will they be able to help you get internships and jobs and help you get your work outside of the college campus? This bottom point here, the program could be great, but the teacher could be awful. Is that a sacrifice you are willing to make for the program? Many schools are going to offer these amazing sounding programs, but if the teacher is not the best, you don't want that to take away from your desire to do what you want to do. So you need to be able to decide, is that a sacrifice you're willing to make? Again, under this section, the faculties or the facilities, I'm sorry. The facilities are a critical part of an arts major. If you are applying to film school and they don't have the basic cameras and basic tripods that you would need for a weekend shoot, it might not be the best fit for you. If you're applying to an arts school and they don't have a basic art studio with canvases and nice painting equipment, it might not be the best fit for you. It's also important, while they might have a lot of equipment, is it up to date and is it state of the art? All very important things to consider when looking at these schools. This also goes back to the suggestion of an in-person tour, because a lot of the time on these virtual tours, you can't go into a specific school. It's more of a general campus view. This is a big one that I have found a lot of help in, is by looking at the work of current and alumni students, which I briefly mentioned earlier. If the students are making things that you want to make, and they seem like things that you are inspired by, it probably would be a good fit for you. There's a lot of room for one end and another end, where one school might have something that you definitely want to be a part of, and another school might be a completely different style than what you're looking for. And by looking at these past students' work, it is a great way to determine if that is what you want to be doing. So yeah. The big school versus small school and big city versus small city debate. This has come up a lot with art. About one thing I will say is, I have to be in New York or LA to get work. A lot of the time, yes, that is true. There is so many resources there and it is all happening there. But don't be afraid to attend a school that is not in one of those cities. There are opportunities everywhere. And even if your school is not in a New York City or Los Angeles, you're not stuck there. After your 4 years, you are welcome to move on. And there are so many opportunities everywhere, especially if you go to a school that has the facilities that you would like. In a large arts program, you are likely to find a lot of resources, a lot of collaboration, and obviously large classes. You and the whole student body will be fighting for the same resources, but there are fantastic resources. And just because you are all fighting for the same resources doesn't mean that you will not be getting to use those resources. In a small arts program, there are fewer resources. However, there are less people competing for them. And just because there are less resources does not mean that they do not have advanced equipment. Their equipment is often on par with larger schools. It is in a smaller arts program, it's easier to build relationships with the people that are the faculty and other students, because there are less people going for the same opportunities as you. It's basically, with a large school, you will be a small fish in a big pond, and in a small school, you would be a big fish in a small pond. So I hope this presentation was of help, and I wish you all luck in your application process.